for, what is it? It's a urine hormone. It's a 24-hour urine hormone test. It's really cool. They do all the metabolites, and they give you this cool breakdown of like the pathways, and so you can kind of see where maybe there's methylation issues or whatever. But yeah, it's dried urine test for cortisol and hormones, because it gives you melatonin and cortisol and cortisone. It's cool. So I was curious about her hormones. But she came back a month later. This was 1 month later, and her mom's like, I haven't seen her like this in 2 years. I'm like, really? Like I was pretty. It's like, awesome. Holy cow! It's only been like 4 weeks. So she followed. It was a fast timeline, but it followed a kind of a typical healing response in that she kind of like, it just sort of like slowly got better. She had some bad time still, and then it was like at 3 weeks it was like half as bad, and then like the week I saw her it was like, whoa, this is like way better than it was last week even. Normally I would expect that to be stretched out. I would expect her to feel maybe 50% better in a month. But sometimes, like, I'm just looking for like 20% improvement, right? Anything. But you know, sometimes people will come back and they're way better. She didn't take the L-glutamine because it made her vomit. They are coming to get the snacks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we'll just tell them that we'll keep all the.
Don't take her. My wife is gonna be real happy.
Yeah, she can have as many as she wants. You should probably take her too.
Gosh, I gotta be better with the time management, so I wanted to get to all this quicker. So basically, after the first week of April, she was not having nausea and vomiting and headache.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it really was.
It wasn't the glutamine, because she didn't even take that.
It wasn't the glutamine, so it was either the probiotic or it was the homeopathic.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously probiotic would be important for her, but yeah. I'm just trying to remember now. Most people have tried probiotic. They had tried a lot of stuff. They'd been doing food eliminations, and so the thing I was curious about too is like, when did this line up? When this started? When did it line up with her period starting? And she had this a couple of years before her period started. So it wasn't like a direct correlation, like I was wondering. She had a little bit more color. She had gotten a lot of sun, and she had one headache in the last week, and that was because she like fell asleep in the car in Nevada where it was really hot. So I was like, well, maybe her cheeks are a little more red because she got sun, but she just looked like she had more color.
Yeah.
So don't give the remedy again. She's doing good.
Doing so well, take it again.
I just had her. I wanted to start tonifying her gut though, so I just started bitters and had her doing bone broth because she wasn't able to do glutamine, and keep doing probiotic. And then, so this is now 2 months later. So this is what, April, May, June, or it's March, April, May. This is 4 months after the original visit, yeah. And she was doing really awesome. She had 2 episodes which she basically attributed to eating corn. She's like, that, I really think that's a bad trigger for me, but they only lasted for 2 days.
Nice.
So other than that, she's like, those 2 episodes, I feel great. And she hasn't been able to eat rice in the past, and now she can eat rice. So my thought was she's going to be able to keep, there were other foods that were issues like wheat and some other things, but like melon, I think.
So in this case, do you do food allergy testing, or do you just say, well, you know this triggers you, so just don't eat it? Like, do you even bother with like the IgG?
No, because it wouldn't change what we'd do, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, other than just knowing for certain you have to take these out, she already knows.
Yeah. But so this case ended really interestingly. So she got sick since I had seen her. She got bronchitis, and her asthma came back, and she was given she's 18. She hasn't had asthma since she was like 9 or 10 years old.
Wow.
And she got steroids, antibiotics, cough suppressant. She saw the ARNP I worked with. And she was still having asthma. Like, after the treatment, I don't know if it was over a month ago that she got sick. And then ever since then, she still now has asthma symptoms. It's like, whoa. It's like,
Return of old symptoms.
it's return of old symptoms. Like, oh, well, what's going on? And so I got the symptoms of it, okay? And it's just different modalities. It's not a sepia case anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The asthma piece or a
Just
constipation?
well, what came up here? Just lying down is worse. Okay. The whole cycle of the thing. Like if you kind of just like do out a cycle of like, oh, there's this irritation, and then there's like, she's got to sit up, and she gets chest tightness, and she starts coughing, and just like all of that, it's not really. It doesn't yell sepia, and her physical generals are coming more like midline. Like she like doesn't drink cold water at night anymore. She her temperature's been midline before she get hot in bed and throw off the covers. And, like, I can't remember the whole story there, but you know, all when you're seeing physical generals change, the person's changing, right? So she, those things were changing, and then I just got the feeling that like this is different symptoms, these are different modalities. So I got the symptoms the best I could, got the physical generals, and I gave her another remedy. And it's interesting because I was using complete dynamics then. I left the room, I said I need a few minutes to look at this, and I gave her a remedy right then. And I don't have that repertorization anymore. I repertorized this, and the remedy doesn't come up real strong that I gave. So, but when you think about it, so I can tell you that you can repertorize this as good as you want, and it comes up, but there's a lot of other remedies, and it doesn't come up in all of the segments if you do it that way. So I'll just ask you, what is a respiratory remedy that loves milk and bacon?
Tuberculinum.
Yeah. But I gave her basilinum because that came up when I did the repertorization.
Cool.
I remember seeing it come up, and I was like, oh, basilinum. Oh, that's, I mean, basically tuberculinum. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I gave it to her.
What is basilinum?
It's just another bacteria.
It's from the sputum
Oh.
of coughing up tuberculosis, but the tuberculinum is from the granuloma.
Versus the bacteria.
And I gave her NAC, and then I mentioned doing time. I'm not doing a lot, right? Like, give her a remedy and here, take NAC and maybe a time, like diffusion in the oil diffuser might help. She got better like immediately.
Wow.
Like she didn't have issues since, well, she said since the last time we were here. She's like, they got better like right away. I was like, holy cow, this girl responds
awesome.
quick. You know what else was interesting is I gave her the remedy, and like right after I gave it to her in the office, I'm like, are you chewing gum? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what kind of gum? She's like, mint.
Oh no.
Oh.
There
It
you
still
go.
worked, I guess, you know, like, I actually have wondered, like, that was a case where I was like, well, what if I hadn't given a remedy? Would she have gotten better right away? Because she may have just been healing, right? It seemed like she needed a stimulus to heal because it was still a month later and her asthma was really bad. And the fact that she got better, like, immediately after the remedy, you know, it's like, I kind of think, yeah, she wouldn't have just, if I hadn't done anything, I don't think she would have just got better the next day, you know. But I do wonder if she would have kept moving in a healing direction and just worked through it. So that was super interesting, and that was the last time I saw her. I moved here in October of 2016, and I called them in the spring of 2017. Or I emailed her mom, and she was doing great. She didn't have any same issues. So
Wow.
yeah,
It's so cool to, yeah. Great to hear that.
yeah. She did have. I mean, it's not like she couldn't eat corn. Like if she ate corn, she would have those same symptoms, but they didn't last 5 days and they weren't as intense, right? She was healthier, but I mean, so it's like you gotta avoid the triggers. But gosh, thanks for hanging out. I'm trying to-
Yeah,
This is
and
so
it
fun.
was fun.
Yeah.
And take one more bar back home.
I was like, I'm gonna get through this in a half an hour, and we're gonna have a half an hour to talk.
Oh, it's so helpful to see it at that pace
Yeah.
too, and especially the part of you turning her case into what you would put into the repertory is the part where
We don't do that a lot
Yeah.
in
Okay.
clinic.
I need to
Yeah, we
Get-
never
fill in
do.
that gap.
Cool, that's good
Dr.
feedback.
Mann, just
Yeah, what I really want to do, so I don't know, some people left early, so I don't know if it was because they needed to do stuff.
I
or
think,
they-
yeah, maybe another class.
But I just, you know, if you can get feedback
Yeah.
from the homeopathy club at least about
What they want.
what's the most helpful. So I'm hearing, how do you take the symptoms
heard
and
the
put it into repertory
Yeah.
language?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, that. But I want to come here and do whatever you guys want. So
This was perfect.
And
I
Christy's
just-
gonna know next time.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make sure other, yeah, I thought, be a little
I'm
bit
trying to
better.
figure out the next case I want to do that. I want to like work into some more complicated cases,
Yeah, that'd be great.
but I'm trying to like just slowly
Meet in the middle,
start that
because
way.
some
And
people are still learning.
I don't know. Do you guys feel like you would have gotten that remedy? How, if that came up, or would you have thrown CPA out? Do you
I
think?
probably would have thrown it out.
Totally.
honestly. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even considered it.